student, welcome back to Science World, and if you find this video useful for you, then please like, comment and share with your friends. Also subscribe my channel and press the bell icon to get notification of my upcoming videos. Students, in our last video we have already discussed about the transportation in plants and animals and respiration in plants and animals. Okay, so today I have new topic for you, that is reproduction in plants. So we are going to discuss about reproduction in plants. Students, we know that living beings, they do not live forever. Okay, and for life to go on, these all living organisms produce new individuals of their own kinds, and this process of production of new individuals from their parent is known as reproduction, and it is an important characteristic of every living organisms. So let us discuss about reproduction in plants. So we know that in a plant, root, stem and leaves, these are the vegetative parts. These are called the vegetative parts of the plant. The plant bears flowers after a certain period of growth, and these flowers give rise to fruits. Then what happens? We eat these fruits and discard the seeds. Under favorable conditions, these seeds get germinate and they become a new plant. So flower is the reproductive part of a plant. But there is another method by which plants reproduce, and it is known as asexual reproduction. So when flower is involved in the reproduction, then it is known as sexual reproduction, because flower has male and female reproductive parts. Okay, but in this video we are only going to discuss about the asexual reproduction in plants. Okay, so let's start asexual reproduction in plants. Asexual reproduction, the method of reproduction in which single parent produces offspring of its own kind. Male and female, both the parents are not involved in this method. So asexual reproduction is the type of reproduction in which only one parent is involved, either male or female. Okay, in this type of reproduction, either seeds are produced, they are weak to germinate, or seeds are not produced at all. And this type of reproduction you can see in the plants which cannot produce the seeds, or they are producing the seeds which are weak to germinate. Okay, and some common we are going to read about the common methods of asexual reproduction in plants. The first one is cell fission. Now what is cell fission? Cell fission is splitting of a mature cell into two or more cells of the same type. Okay, here you can see amoeba example is given. So here a single cell is splitting into two or many cells, okay, when it get matured. So cell fission can be binary or it can be multiple. What happens in binary fission? The splitting of a cell into two cells of the same time, okay, means only two cells are formed. Here you can see the example of amoeba. This is the parent cell, then the nucleus divides inside the cell into two, and then this cytoplasm is also divides, and after that you can see the two daughter cells of amoeba. So this is the method of binary fission. Then what is multiple fission? The splitting of a cell into more than two cells of the same type is called multiple fission, and the example is plasmodium. Do you know plasmodium is the pathogen that causes malaria? Okay, and it undergoes multiple fission. What happens in multiple fission? The nucleus inside the cell it divides into many smaller nuclei, and when there is a favorable condition around that cell, then it releases that all the daughter cells, and there is multiple fission. Okay, so this process is known as multiple fission, means a single cell gives rise to many cells. In binary fission, first the nucleus divides into two nuclei, then cytoplasm divides, and then the daughter cells are formed. Okay, so it is most common method of asexual reproduction in unicellular organisms such as bacteria and amoeba. Also you can see in euglena. Okay, so this is cell fission. Then the next method is budding. In some simple organisms, an outgrowth is formed from their body, and this outgrowth is known as a bud. Okay, this bud may remain attached to the parent body to form another bud, or it may get detached from the parent to form a new individual. And the most common example of budding is yeast cells. Okay, here you can see this is the mature yeast cell, then this is the small outgrowth, and it is forming a bud. It is budding. Then the nucleus also divides itself, and then the bud, it is detached from the parent cell and it is forming a individual cell. So this is the common method in yeast. Okay, then same thing you can see in the hydra. Okay, so here you can see the tiny bump that appears on the parent hydra, then it develops into bud, then this bud grows and gets detached from the parent body to become a independent hydra. Okay, the next is fragmentation. Fragmentation meaning is to break into many pieces. Okay, so here what happens in fragmentation, certain plants like algae, and the example is Spirogyra. These are the long ribbon like filamentous structures, and they break up into two or more parts. So Spirogyra grows near the stagnant water bodies, we know that, and it multiplies by breaking into two or more fragments, and each fragment grows into new individual. In diagram you can see here, this is the Spirogyra and it breaks into these three parts. Okay, three fragments there, and each fragment then grows into a new individual Spirogyra. So this method of asexual reproduction is known as fragmentation. Then fragmentation and you can say regeneration also. Regeneration, it is the ability of living things to repair themselves or grow the damaged part, that is and it is known as regeneration. See, the plants, okay, plants, they are having a good power of regeneration. Okay, so plants can grow their any part. Suppose you break a branch of a tree, then again it can grow another branches on the same part. Okay, so this is known as regeneration, and it is also seen in animals like lizard. You can see when the lizard's tail is cut, then it can grow it again. So it is the ability of living things to repair themselves or grow the damaged part. Here is the example of planaria. Planaria, when it gets cut into different parts, then each part of that body, it can grow into new individual or new daughter planaria. So this is the example of fragmentation and regeneration. Okay, the next is spore formation. Now in spore formation what happens, many plants that do not produce flowers, we know that some plants, they do not produce flowers, and they form the spores. Okay, and they also reproduce with these spores. So each spore is covered with a thick wall that protects it from the unfavorable conditions. Now these spores are sprayed into the environment, atmosphere. Okay, and we cannot see them, they are very tiny. These spores are developed into a develop inside a sporangia, a sac like structure, we can say a bag like structure. Okay, and when these sporangia, they get mature, they burst and the spores are spread into the atmosphere. The examples are mosses, ferns and fungi, and these reproduce through the spore formation. A spore in suitable condition germinates to form a new plant. When these spores land on a place where it gets all the favorable condition, that is moisture and warmth and soil and any we can say food, okay, they get germinate and then form the new plants. You can see the picture here. This is asparagus and this is fern. Okay, asparagus is it is a moss. Okay, so mosses and ferns, these are the examples of pore formation. So here you can see these are the spores on these leaves of this fern. Then here you can see the spore formation in a fungus, that is Rhizophus, or we can say the common mold that grows on the spoiled food, okay, that is chapati and bread, etc. So here these hyphae is there, hyphae are there, okay, and this stolon, these are the root like structures that grow into the food on which they grow. Like if bread is there, these stolons, or we can say root like structures, they grow into the bread. Suppose example we take bread, then these are the sporangium, okay. When this sporangium they get matured, when they become matured, then they burst and they release spores into the atmosphere. So this is the example of spore formation. Here you can see another example, that is, this is a mushroom, okay, and you can see here the bursting of mushroom is there, and it is with this bursting it is spreading lots of spores in the atmosphere. Then we have next type of reproduction, that is vegetative reproduction. So reproduction from vegetative parts is known as vegetative propagation also. So vegetative reproduction, it is also known as vegetative propagation, and it occurs in the vegetative parts of the plant, that is roots, stem and leaf, okay, and these parts give rise to new plants under favorable conditions. So when these parts have favorable conditions, they can grow into new plants. So vegetative propagation can occur by the root, okay, and these roots we can say example like potato, sweet potato, then dahlia and asparagus. These are the examples of vegetative propagation by root. So these plants can grow by their roots, with the help of their roots. So storage roots of sweet potato, asparagus and dahlia, when they get detached from the parent plant, and they can grow into a new plant. These swollen roots have abundant store of reserve food, okay, which is used during active growth at the time of sowing. So the food that is stored in the roots, it is used during this growth time, okay. So this is vegetative propagation or reproduction by root. Here you can see this is the plant that is known as dahlia, and these are the roots of dahlia. When they are sown into the soil, they again grow into new plant. Here this is asparagus, okay. Then you can see here sweet potato, it is also a tuber, or we can say root, swollen root. This is new shoot growing here, okay. These are the buds from which new shoot is growing. This is the old stem. The next is vegetative propagation by stem. In certain plants like potato, ginger and turmeric, etc., new plants can be developed from the underground stem. Suppose the part of the stem which is having buds, okay, if it is sown into the soil or it is buried in the soil, then it grows into new plants, okay. Here you can see the bud of this ginger, okay. This is the bud and it grows into a new plantlet, small plant. Here these nodes are there, these are the nodes, lines you can see on the ginger. Then another example of stem is potato. This old potato tuber is planted in the soil, then this is the bud from which a new potato plant is growing, okay, and another new plant is growing from the second bud. So these buds, when they are buried in the soil, they grow into new plants. Then vegetative propagation by aerial stem. Now what is aerial stem? In this method of propagation, it is found in grass, mint, oxalis, chrysanthemum and strawberry. These are the examples of plants in which This vegetative propagation by aerial stem can be seen. In certain plants, a slender branch originating from the base of the stem, it grows and it bends to touch the soil. Then it develops the buds and roots at the point of contact with the soil, and the bud develops into a new plant. The wild strawberry propagates by this method, and it is also common in doob grass. Okay, the stem grows along the soil forming roots at certain intervals, and they give rise to new plants. So why this grass, it spreads all over the area that it gets, because it reproduce by these aerial stems. Okay, so you can see the example here. This is the main plant. Okay, and this is the side stem. This is the side stem or runner, and this grows out from a bud here. Here is the bud at the base of the main stem, and this is the internode. This is again node. So at every node, this plant, if it touches the ground, it touches the soil, these nodes, at the nodes, these roots grow, and the shoot also starts growing. So at every node, the new plant can grow. Okay, so this is aerial stem, that is vegetative propagation by aerial stem. Then vegetative propagation by leaf. Leaves of certain plants develop buds in their margins, and these buds develop into new plants after falling in the soil. When these buds, they fall in the soil, they start growing into new plant. And the example is Bryophyllum and Begonia. So here you can see this Begonia plant. Its leaves, they are developing buds, and these buds are then developing into new plants. Here you can see this is the Bryophyllum. These are the small buds. When these buds they fall into the soil, they grow into again new plants. Then propagation by artificial methods. So whatever methods we have seen just now, they are all the natural methods of vegetative propagation. There are some artificial methods of vegetative propagation, like cutting, layering and grafting. So we will read one by one. So first one is cutting. Cutting means a piece of stem having few nodes, means we have to just cut a stem from the plant which has nodes, and when this cutting is buried into the moist soil, new roots develop in its underside and develops into new plant. So this cutting, when it is buried in the soil, the part that is inside the soil, it grows or it develops new roots, and the upper part that is above the soil, it develops into the shoot of that new plant. So bougainvillea, rose, champa, sugarcane, these are the examples of plants that reproduce through stem cutting. You can see the picture here. Here just a slant cut is given to this branch of the plant. Okay, this is the parent plant and this is the cutting. So with a blade or another tool you can take to cut this branch. Then this cutting is potted in the soil. Okay, and then this cutting grows into a new plant. So this is cutting method of vegetative reproduction. You can see here the sugarcane is there. Sugarcanes, they are the stem of the plants. Okay, and these are cut down and then they are buried in the soil. Okay, the next method is layering. In this type of vegetative reproduction, the branch of a plant is bent. It is bent and then it is covered with moist soil. After some days, the roots develop from the branch which grows into the new plant. This plant becomes separate from the parent plant, and this is a common practice with plants like jasmine and bougainvillea. So these plants, they grow by layering. How they grow? Look at the picture here. This is the parent plant and its branch is bent here, and this branch is covered with the soil here, and then again it grows into these roots are grown here, and then here you can see new plant will grow. So this is the example of layering. The next is grafting. In this method, a small branch of plant is inserted into a cut made into the rooted stem. So the plant which is to be inserted is known as scion, and the plant in which this scion is inserted, it is known as stalk. So now both scion and stalk, they are tied together to develop a new plant. This type of reproduction takes place in citrus, mango and apple and other plants. So you can look at the picture here. This is the scion, this is the stalk. Here one cut is there, okay, and here this scion is cut into this shape that will fit into this cut in the stalk. Then you can see it is inserted, and then it is tightly packed with this polythene, or we can say tape or any cloth. It is tightly packed together, both the parts, that is scion and stalk. So this is known as grafting. Tissue culture. This is another method in which these vegetative parts are used. That is, a small piece of tissue is cut off from the top of a plant. Then this tissue is placed in the artificial nutrient medium like agar, and it also contains hormones like auxin, okay, and this whole, that is this tissue, and this tissue which is kept in the nutrient medium, it is kept free from any infection, okay, it is kept free from any infection, and the piece of tissue then starts growing into the unorganized and undifferentiated mass of tissues called callus. This callus then transferred into another nutrient medium containing plant hormones, where it multiplies and differentiates into small plantlets, or we can say small plants. Now these plantlets are then transferred to the moist soil for further growth. So in this way we can develop these tissues of a plant in a petri dish, or we can say in a artificial nutrient medium, okay. So look at this picture. Here you can see this is the dish, petri dish we can say, and here the tissue sample is placed in agar growth medium containing nutrients and auxins. So auxins are the plant hormones that are for growth of the plant, that increases the growth of plant, or we can say they help in development and growth of the plant. So these tissues are cut, then they are kept in the agar growth medium, then samples develop into tiny plantlets, and then these are planted into compost or soil. So in this way we will get the new plants from a tissue culture. Here also you can see these tissues are taken from a plant, then this is the callus, or we can say growth of these tissues, then it is transferred into test tube here, then when it is this callus, it grows into small plantlet, then it is transferred to a pot. So this is about the tissue culture. Then why this vegetative reproduction or vegetative propagation is important? What are the advantages of this vegetative reproduction, that we will see now. See, first one, the plants which are not capable of producing seeds can be reproduced by vegetatively. For example, banana, grapes, rose and jasmine. These plants are not capable of producing seeds, and that's why they are produced by vegetative propagation. The offsprings produced by the vegetative propagation are very much similar to their parent plants. They are similar to their parent plants. Plants raised by vegetative propagation bear flowers and fruits earlier than the plants raised by the seeds. See, when we sow seeds, it takes time to grow a plant from that seed. Again, that plant grows, and it takes time to bear flowers and fruits. So in comparison, if we will see, these plants that are raised by vegetative propagation, they bear flowers and fruits earlier than the plants that are raised by the seeds. Then number 4 is seedless varieties of plants can be grown by artificial vegetative propagation. So there are seedless varieties of plants, and that can be grown by this method. We will see another advantages, that is, it is a rapid, cheap and easy method. It is fast method of reproduction for the multiplication of plants. Then genetically identical plants means the clones, or we can say the parent plants and the offsprings, they are exactly copies of means the offsprings are the copies of this their parent plant. So they are identically they are genetically identical. Okay. Then superior quality of fruits and flowers can be produced by grafting. Then disease free plants can be produced by this method, and early flowering and fruit formation, that we have already discussed. So these are the advantages of these all the methods of vegetative propagation. So here you can see a flow chart in which all the modes of reproduction in plants are given. So in plants you can see asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction, it occurs by budding, fragmentation and spore formation, and the last one is vegetative propagation. Again, vegetative propagation can be divided into natural methods and artificial methods. Natural methods of these vegetative propagation, they include different vegetative parts, that is roots, underground stems, aerial stems and leaves. Then artificial methods include cutting, layering, grafting and tissue culture. So these are all the modes of or we can say these are all the types of asexual reproduction in different plants. So thank you for watching this video. For sexual reproduction, we will have another video. Okay, and till then you watch this video, share and comment it, and also subscribe my channel. We will meet again in our next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.